Hey, what's going on everybody? Alex with you here again. Thanks for dropping by. In this video, I will be sharing with you guys some of the major updates that have been going on or are in the works for some of these major chess companies, the Chessup, the SquareOFF, and the Chessnut. I'm not going to be covering DGT today, but at least I will be covering these three different boards. Now, initially, when I was thinking about making this video, I thought it probably would make sense if I made a couple of smaller videos that would be focusing on specific companies, so that way people are a lot more easily going to find what information is important to them. But at the same time, you know, I treat you guys, my audience, as sort of my chess family. And if you guys came to my house and you wanted to hear me talk, I probably would tell you everything at once as I'm doing right now, instead of being like, well, wait a minute, let me bring this board out to you, but hey, cut, we'll take a break, and then I'm going to bring this other board and we'll have a totally separate discussion. I suppose it would make sense, but at the same time, I do realize that although some people might click out of this video early, then there's still going to be quite a large amount of people that will watch the video towards the end, because I'm going to be sharing with you guys not only all the different updates in this video, but also because I will be sharing with you guys additional information about chess in general that I strongly feel that a lot of you guys might benefit from. So let's start off the Chessup. I'm going to kind of cover Chessup relatively quickly. Chessup's been working diligently on improving their software end of things, both for the iOS and Android, which is really good to see that companies that have created these chessboards are continuing to improve and make their software and firmware more smooth, more integrated, giving us additional options. I know recently I've contacted with them and they said that they're improving and creating the Android side of things. They're going to be creating a very strong ability to play on chess.com. And I was really excited about that, so it's still in the works, and I'm really hoping to make a more in-depth video later on when they release these updates to us, and sort of compare and see how they sort of compare to the previous features that we had available. That's for Chessup. SquareOFF. Let's move on to SquareOFF, because I do have a little bit more information that I want to sort of talk to you guys and kind of have you wrap your head around as far as what they're doing. Their software end of things, actually probably, well, it's been maybe 2 months, maybe 3. It's not something like yesterday. It's not super recent, but what they did is they sort of had this previous application the way it was before, which allowed you to utilize your SquareOFF product to use the application, whether it was on iOS, whether it was on Android, to play online, to play against the AI, and also additional features like they had like some puzzles and some training things. Then what happened, and some of the people online actually wanted me to cover this in like a separate video, but what happened is after a while, SquareOFF said, hey, let's put a lot more effort into upgrading all the different features we can have with our application, but let's break it down so that we'll have this sort of a base, kind of a base free version of it. And then we'll, for a very small fee, we're going to create this gold membership, which is what they did essentially. Now, I did not take as much time maybe as some other people to really study how the initial application was and all the little details. I kind of scanned over it and tried everything a little bit, but I didn't take like a million years to really get to the bottom of what the app is about. Now, when I looked at the upgraded version, I was like, well, first of all, it looks much better. It's much cleaner. The interface looks really cool. But at the same time, my first impression was, okay, what did they take away, which they once had in the free version? What did they give us extra that they now have in the membership version? And sort of, does it make sense for people to upgrade to the gold membership if they maybe not necessarily want to pay that extra little bit, which is not much. I think it's like $19 for every 6 months, $29 for a year, which is not even $3 a month. It's not a big deal, but if you were getting a product initially to have a free application, you could still use their sort of basic layout, which, like I said, will allow you all the different options that initially you had, like playing against the AI, playing online, and some of the other features, some of the other training software. But you get a lot more now with the gold membership. So yeah, my initial thought process was like, did they basically dumb down the basic version so that they could sort of make this gold membership that originally had all the features that the basic one had, and now they're presenting it as like something new and improved? Or are they really putting extra time? And it seems to me like they are, in fact, putting a lot more extra time. After having studied the application a little bit more, I think that, yeah, you're definitely going to get a little bit more, especially if like, for example, if you're not like me, who has a bunch of different boards, and if like SquareOFF, whether it's SquareOFF Pro, Swap, Kingdom, or whatever, if that's your only product, it may make sense for you to upgrade to their gold membership, so that way you can really utilize the application for all the different features that they can provide you, and anticipate some additional features in the future, hopefully, because we are paying that little bit, and that little bit is basically being collected and sort of channeled towards making the software better. So it's kind of cool to see that. One of the really cool features that sort of caught my eye, and I think that this is a feature that should definitely be expanded upon, not only within the SquareOFF, but they should also include in the Chessup, they should include in Chessnut in one way or another. But there's this sort of additional thing within the gold membership where you can essentially go to this rewards place in their application, and you are basically you can get tangible things for points that you collect while playing chess games. That is like mind-blowing, because most of the time when whether or not you're playing regular video games or you're doing some other digital stuff, you have to agree with me, because that whenever you get like some kind of a badge or something, or even like on your smartwatches or whatever, you get a badge. It's just a digital badge. You can't do much with it. If you get a tangible sort of a thing, whether it's, in this case, I think there's like a couple of books, and that's about it for now, and they do cost quite a bit, so you do have to play a lot of chess games. But if you do earn enough gold, diamond points or whatever, you can actually purchase those things with your points. And then they get sent to you, and you receive a book. I think they have like a Bobby Fischer book or something. They really need to have a lot more prizes, in my opinion. But you receive the product. It is a tangible product that you get from the company, that you look at it, whether it's a book or a little trophy or whatever, a pin or what have you. It's a little real physical thing. It's not a digital thing. And you can put it on the wall or a shelf and say, I played 1,000 games to get that, and I got it. And I feel proud of it because I got it. It may not be worth more than like $10 in the store, but it's that sort of a feeling that you've actually put in the time and you felt motivated throughout the whole sort of a journey towards achieving that. You felt motivated, you continue to play your game simply so that you can get that product. And that sort of a transition between receiving a digital reward to a physical reward is something, in my opinion, that's just mind-blowingly cool and should be included in all the different chess products. Like I said, Chessnut, Chessup, anything really, they should do that. They should do that hands down, even if it's small things. Even like for example, I used to run outside a lot, and I used Strava as the running app. And at some point, they had a thing where you could run digitally. Well, you had to run it, and then your Strava app would record it. So you'd run on the streets. And they said if you run between the week of so-and-so and so-and-so, I had to register, of course. If you run half a marathon in the duration of those 2 weeks, not all at once maybe, but you do whatever you got to do. And we will send you a tangible half marathon. Like if you run the half marathon, they said we will send you a tangible half marathon medal. And I've actually never participated in any real marathon, so I thought that was the coolest thing. I had to pay like $30. I ran the half marathon the same day as soon as the week opened. I got it, and then like 3 months later, they sent me the actual. It was like Sea Breeze or something. That's what it was called, and it was exciting. I showed my wife. I was so proud of it. I ran a lot on the Strava app, many hundreds of miles, but it was the fact that I received a tangible thing for something instead of just a digital badge that was so cool. Okay, so like I said, that is really cool, and I feel like that feature, they should definitely take more time to expand on that feature to create other different things, pins, trophies, badges, what have you, as many as possible. and have them not be easily attained. Like, you know, maybe like you can't just be like, oh, I played 5 games, now I can order this little badge. It has to be something to where, you know, you got to play like 500 games at least, or 1,000 games. Now, I do realize that doing something like that has some disadvantages, as far as there will be some people that will probably be trolling the system and trying to like just, I don't know, play against themselves so that they could sort of accrue all the games, and then they basically get all the different products. I know there will be some people like that, and they could potentially ruin it for everybody. But if this sort of the program like that could take off, it would create so much more motivation in people to actually purchase these products and play games, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. If you purchase a chess board like this, the company expects that you're going to actually get some use out of it instead of it sitting on your shelf. So yeah, as far as my opinion, because I know I've had some people that repeatedly kind of ask, you know, so what is your favorite SquareOFF product? You know, which one do you like? I have not had a chance to test out the SquareOFF Neo. I have the SquareOFF Swap, the SquareOFF Pro, and I've tested the SquareOFF Kingdom. I like the SquareOFF Swap. Definitely like it for the self-moving pieces. And that's something really cool. I don't think it's sort of a deal breaker if you do or do not have the self-moving pieces, but it is cool to see this, especially for like younger people, maybe like some kids who like the pieces move on their own, and you're just like, wow, it's so cool, it's so magical, you know. So yeah, I think that the SquareOFF, in my opinion, the most practical board from the SquareOFF company that I found was the SquareOFF Pro, the roll-up board, just because it rolled up really nicely, it didn't occupy a lot of space. And at the same time, when you unroll it, it's sort of more or less like a tournament-sized pieces, tournament-sized board. You treat it as such, and it works pretty well. A wonderful product, and it's not very expensive. So they're also actually gonna allow you to get a much greater discount if you use the code ALSUCHESS. I believe last time I checked, you get something along the lines of 20-something% off with the included code that comes basically if you just decide to directly purchase one of their products. However, if you go in and there is an option to include a code during checkout, and you do include ALSUCHESS, I will include in the description below how to spell it, you will actually receive like a 30-something% discount, which is going to give you more money off on the product if you intend to purchase it like for yourself or for somebody else. I know holidays are coming up, so a lot of people will be looking for products as gifts for people. So honestly, in my opinion, like I said, the SquareOFF Swap is very kind of a novelty thing. Really cool with all the features and everything. The most practical board that I feel like this company has, is the SquareOFF Pro. If I had to purchase another product, I'd probably purchase the SquareOFF Pro again, but I already have that board, so whatnot. Anyways, moving on, the Chessnut Evo, and I wanted to make the announcement, which I'm really super excited about. But the Chessnut Evo has already for like almost a month now been out of Kickstarter and is being sold on the Chessnut website. Really cool. So I'm gonna leave you guys a link below to where you can directly purchase it now. I'm not sure when exactly you're going to be getting the product, but hopefully soon. Now that it's off Kickstarter, you can finally utilize the ALSUCHESS discount code to purchase the board. And unlike previous years where we've seen that you'd get 10% off using the ALSUCHESS code, now they've upped that discount to 15% off. So that's really cool to see. They do have the option of selling the Chessnut Evo to you with or without an additional carrying bag. Honestly, if you're able to get the carrying bag, that's always better, because if you don't have the carrying bag, then you have to think about what you're going to keep it in. For one, you can always keep it on like a bookshelf or something to where you don't have to put it up. But for a lot of people, especially those that might think that in the future with this board, they're going to be transporting it somewhere to play somewhere else, to play maybe with a friend or somebody, it's always nice to have some kind of a bag that will ensure that this board is not going to get damaged during transit. And even keeping it at home, I feel like it would be better off to be kept in a bag, regardless of whether or not you have like kids or dogs, or it's just nicer because it protects the board. I mean, if you're going to invest the money into such a nice product, you know, you don't want it to get all scratched up or whatnot, you know. So yeah, getting a carrying bag, I think, is a really good idea. So yeah, the board itself is really awesome. I've had more time to play with it and test it out. I think that, as I've said before, the fact that you have this sort of integrated software and this integrated screen on the side really removes the hassle of you having to have a cell phone or an iPad or something that you'd have to run the connection through the product, through the phone, into the board, back from the board, into the phone. And that way, you know, it's just much easier because the board's directly connected to your Wi-Fi. And you don't even have to have your phone in order to play your board. You don't have to know where your phone is, and you don't have to be distracted by your phone. That's one of the nice features. And I've had this same question repeated to me several times. People wanted to get some kind of a chess board for their child. And they wanted to basically, they would say like, okay, yeah, my child is young, they're really interested in playing chess. I don't allow them to use a cell phone, which I don't allow my kids to use cell phone either, because I feel like they're going to be pressing the wrong buttons, changing my settings, possibly calling 911. I'm just not going to do that, not yet. But, you know, let's say a child is 8, 9, 7, what have you, and they're really starting to express an interest in playing chess, and they sort of wanted to get something to where it's all one product like this. Chessnut Evo is awesome. You get the Chessnut Evo set up, you get it connected. Chessnut Evo has Chess Kid, which it's a very kid-friendly online chess base, so that way, you know, if you really want your child to have a very similar experience to what you would have with chess.com or Lichess, but in a very friendly way with like really cool, interesting instructional videos and everything, that's the place to be. And as you guys have seen before with a lot of different other chess boards, they're not allowing Chess Kid yet, simply because of the conflict of the programs. But with the Chessnut Evo, that's totally possible. So if, like I said, you have a child or somebody in your family or a cousin or whatnot who is young and is expressing you know, a tremendous interest in playing chess, Chessnut Evo might be the board for them. Okay, so that's really cool to see. And like I said, I was really excited to mention this news to you guys before, but I was sick for the last couple of weeks. So finally I'm not sick anymore, and I get to share this with you guys. So yeah, they're off Kickstarter finally after a long time, and so feel free to check out the links below. I'm going to leave the links to the Chessup, to the SquareOFF, and also to Chessnut, so that way you guys can browse, and feel free to ask any questions if you guys have any. Now, finally, I do have a couple of things to mention to you guys. Just the other day, and I know I mentioned to you guys this before, but I wanted to sort of mention it again because I feel like it's really important. So yesterday, in fact, I downloaded a new video game which me and my son were playing on the computer, on the TV, Starfield. Really cool game. So me and him, we spent like 3 hours playing the game. Really cool. And towards the end of the day, my eyes were kind of like a little bit burning. I felt like there was a fatigue in my eyes, and then just sort of I went to wash them out, and then I was like, it's not very often that I reach out for like the moisturizing, you know, sort of irritation relief eye drops, but I did have that idea yesterday. I was like, well, I might have to see where they are, because my eyes are just like, they're burning, they're feeling fatigued, and then I thought to myself, well, how come most of the other times during the day I'm fine, and why is it now? Because I always ask questions like that. Why is it now that my eyes are burning? Then I was like, it's because I spent like 3.5 hours playing Starfield. I was watching my kid play, I was playing myself, I was looking at the TV. It's a nice TV, it's an OLED, so I was reading that OLEDs are easier on your eyes, and so I was like, okay, this is fun. But at the end of the day, after the, you know, towards the evening, my eyes were just like getting to the point where they were really fatigued. And so that's one of the things that, you know, like a lot of us don't realize that most of the people, like 99% of the people, don't even invest time or even put any consideration towards having some kind of an electronic chessboard. But I have to say that if you're staring at a screen playing chess, you should take into consideration the fact that staring at a screen for a while, even though you think you're doing yourself good by playing chess, you're going to fatigue your eyes. You're going to fatigue, and I fatigue my eyes. I don't even pay attention. But the thing about me is I don't play chess in order to get better. I play chess for fun. So I'll play a couple of games, like most, probably on like any day, most games that I'll play is I'll play like 5 games online. And that maximum maybe like an hour looking at the screen, that's not too bad, but still, it's an hour looking at the screen, okay? And if you want to get better at chess, 5 games a day is not really going to cut it. If you really want to improve, you're going to have to play more than that. You're going to have to play like, I don't know, Hikaru has how many games on his chess.com account? Like 40,000 or something like that, maybe? You have to play a lot more games than that. It's kind of like when I was training for the marathon for a while. You have a different aspect when you're doing something, not just like one day a week or whatever, but if you're actually serious about something and you start to approach it in a way that, like, I would run and then all of a sudden I was like, these shoes are not going to cut it, because I set sort of goals for me, and I said, by the end of this year I have to run 1,000 miles. 1,000 miles is quite a lot, and so I started off and I was like, well, my hips are kind of hurting, my calves are kind of hurting. Maybe I should invest into like softer shoes. I went, I did the research, I invested into softer shoes. That didn't cut it, because I was like, okay, by mile 200, I'm starting to feel my joints, you know, my hips and everything. I started implementing stretching daily. So then I was like, oh, I started learning about UV index. And then UV index became something that was very important as part of my training. Because I wouldn't go out if the UV index is like 10, because you get burnt. And most people don't realize anything about UV index. They don't even have a clear idea about what UV index is. But I do, because I've trained, and I'd go out wearing a weird farmer's hat running, and my wife would be like, you look like a clown, wearing like a full suit with closed up, like long sleeves, UV protected gear, UV protected pants, like fully dressed up. And my wife would be like, honey, it's 90 degrees outside and you look like you're running in the winter. And I say, yes, but the UV index is kind of high today. Because you might think I was overprotecting myself, but at the same time, because I was doing it every day, I was actually taking the right precautions to continue working. Because I would say to myself, if I don't do this correctly from the start, I will never reach the 1,000-mile goal that I was wanting to reach. Because I would basically either burn out, damage my joints, damage my skin, or whatnot, you know, inhale too much pollution. All these little nuances do not matter to you if you're only doing an activity every once in a while when you feel like it. But when it comes to chess, if you really want to get better, you have to play regularly and you have to play a lot. And then these little minute details like, hey, I'm going to have to play chess for 6 hours a day because I really want to improve my rating and get to the point of like being a master within 2 years. 6 hours a day really adds up over time of you staring at a screen all day long. You don't realize it. If you only play 2 games a week, it doesn't matter. You might not even need a board unless you really want that experience. You can stare at a screen or your phone and it's not a big deal. But if you're really serious and you take the time, then all of a sudden it starts, these little tiny details start to creep up and become important to you. And if I had to start training again for running, you bet I'm gonna like suit up. Even if it's the evening, I'm gonna suit up and take all those little precautions. However small and insignificant they might seem, when you multiply those little insignificant details by the fact that you're gonna have to train for so long, it really does make a difference. So, with that being said, yes, even the Chessnut Evo, you could argue and say, it has a screen here, so technically you have a screen that you're looking at. That's not necessarily the truth, because most of the time, you're going to be looking at a physical board. And if we time how much time you actually stare at a screen here versus the physical pieces on the board, you'll realize that 98% of the time that you're going to be playing, you're actually going to be staring at real life plastic pieces. Therefore, your eye strain is definitely going to be a lot less than if you were spending all that time looking at the screen. And like I said, if you're planning to really take up chess seriously to where you're really going to want to improve your chess skills, it would benefit you to have a physical board. Now, some people might say, well, it would benefit me to have a real board, not an electronic board, so that I could just stare at those pieces. But yeah, but then you have to have physical people to play with. So there's that balance to where the electronic board brings us that ability to be able to play anytime you want with physical pieces without having too much eye strain, hopefully. And yeah, so what I did last night is, yeah, my eyes were like kind of bothering me. Today they're not, but they were really kind of burning, and I thought to myself, I think I've had enough screen time for today, like even 3 hours, it was a lot. And we were gonna, usually my wife and I will watch a little show or something right before going to bed, and instead we played Scrabble. And while we played Scrabble in real life, not on a computer screen, my eyes did not sort of have that eye strain because it was not a computer screen. So yeah, it makes sense to invest into some kind of electronic chessboard if you're going to be serious about training for chess. That's just my takeaway. Now, lastly, I know I don't want to take any more of your time, but I also wanted to share with you guys my idea as far as how I believe we should all view chess, as well as other things, in order to improve your chess game. So, I may have mentioned this before, but this is kind of going to be, in my opinion, the most important thing that I can tell you in this video, and hopefully, if you guys listen carefully enough, you may benefit from it. But chess, in my opinion, is a serious game. We enjoy it, but it's a serious game, and it should be approached seriously. What that means is there's times in our life when we are not serious. You know, you might be eating or conversing with others or watching a movie. You might not be paying attention too much, but chess is a game where you should be serious if you want to win in the game. You should not be, what's the word? You shouldn't be sloppy, okay? You can be sloppy in other things that you do in your life. You can be like not exactly 100% accurate in everything. That's normal. That's just human nature. But you should not be sloppy in your approach to playing chess. Let me give you an example, okay? So, at work, when I'm seeing patients, so if I'll go to see somebody for a toothache, for example, I'll have somebody that will be waiting for me in one of the patient rooms, and I am going there right now, kind of, you know, I looked over their x-rays and I'm like, okay, so this is probably what's going on, but we'll take a look and do our diagnosis and, you know, figure things out for this patient, so hopefully we'll be able to provide some help. I might have the front desk ask me some questions, somebody might intervene in the time that I'm going there, talk to me about this and that, and sort of, I might be, my mind is being like torn by all these different people that need all this attention, and I'm answering questions, signing notes, and I'm walking towards the patient. Then I come in, I'm still talking to the assistant. I might be like, hey, how's it going? You know, how's your day? How are things? How's the weather out there? You know, there's just some small talk, whatever. Ha, you know. And then I'll sit down and I'll say, so what brings you in today? And all of a sudden, my mind goes like, and even though it might not seem that way, my mind is kind of like that, some of those old Sherlock Holmes movies, and he like lights up his pipe and he goes, now sir, from this point on, do not omit any details because I'm listening to you very carefully. And it's that sort of approach to where it's sort of like tunnels. That's how you should perceive chess. Your life might be a crazy mess. I mean, you might have all kinds of things going on. But when you sit down to play a chess game, whether it's at home or at a tournament or with a friend, always strive to sort of like tunnel in. Okay? Tunnel in. It's like that, you know, those James Bond movies where the James Bond 007 agent might be at a party and, you know, he's mingling with all the people and he's having a good time and he's having a wine, chit-chatting, talking, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes out into some balcony and then he like opens up a secret compartment, takes out the sniper rifle, watches his time. He's like, I have 10 seconds. There's the car coming. Hold down, release the brake, and boom. And you're just like, how did he go from, you know, from this, like sort of just being a regular person to immediately walking right into the balcony and being so serious because he was on a mission. Boom. He got it. You know, it's that sort of like, that's how I approach chess. That's how I approach my work. That's how you can approach a lot of things. You know, if you go, I don't know, if you go to a shooting range and you shoot. Yeah, you were all like, hey, I was having ice cream beforehand and we did all this stuff today and we went there. But when you've got that you know, rifle or whatever, you're shooting. if you're going to be like all over the place, you know, your accuracy is going to be terrible. So of course, at that moment, everything else disappears, and you're just like, you're honing in, you're tunneling, like nothing else matters at that moment in your release. You know, that's how chess, in my opinion, should be for everybody. Or at least you should practice the skill of doing so if you wish to improve your chess skills. And I see so many times online and things, when I join a game like on chess.com or something, I might have a player that's like higher than me. I might be playing somebody who's got more points, and yet the game, I'm just like playing, and every move that I make, I'm serious. I might have kids asking me stuff, but as soon as I sit down, I'm just like, and every move that I make, I'm making it sort of paying attention to what they are doing. It's very important that you pay attention. You can see people playing that just are basically exercising their memory of like remembering what openings. They do the same opening, like, okay, this person is going with the Sicilian. It doesn't matter what you do. You'll see they're just developing their Sicilian. They don't care what moves you do, and you're just like, he's not playing against me. He's just doing some random. And those people are easy to beat, because all of a sudden, like I played some guy yesterday, and he was gonna give me a fork with his knight, and the fork was obvious. He puts his knight forward, and then I put my bishop. And immediately, it's as if he already has done a pre-move or something. His bishop goes into the spot to the fork. I'm like, so I just took your bishop. Then there was this silence afterwards where he was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have done that. Dude, you're not playing against me. You're just moving randomly. So like, you're not paying attention. You're not sort of tunneling. The opportunity of playing a game is that you actually have a communication with the opponent, how they're moving, how you're moving. It's all very important. It's very important. That's how we should treat. We should treat chess games seriously. And if you want to improve your chess skill, that's what one thing that I would advise for you. Whenever I play on chess.com, one of the things that I really, really enjoy is being able to look down and see like how many mistakes I did after the game, what was my accuracy level, what was the opponent's accuracy level, and what chess.com deems the true rating of the player was. So, most of the time, like my rating is kind of low, because I actually don't really care about, I don't care about the rating. Like, chess.com rating means nothing to me. I come in and I play some games and whatnot. In fact, for a while, my chess rating was really low, and I lost a lot of games because I just didn't finish them, because I had to do many other things and I would get interrupted, especially if I would want to play at work, like in the break time. I get interrupted a lot, and I was lose games that way. But I didn't care about the rating, and a lot of times nowadays when I do, my accuracy level during the games is above 85%, which tells me that regardless of whether I win or lose the game, I still tried. And then if you feel like you tried and you really gave it your best, you're never going to be unhappy about losing. No matter how many games you lose, you're always going to be happy about, you know, playing again and again. And that's why I feel like paying attention is just so important. And then it's surprising sometimes. It's like, okay, well, you know, this person's rating was higher by like 50 points, and yet they played as if I wasn't even there, and they lost pretty bad. And at the end, it's like, oh, his rating was like 14 something, and you know, your rating was 14, and it says on chess.com that he played like 750 ELO and you played like 1900. So it's just like, what gives? I mean, play the real game. Play the game that's in front of you. Don't try to give me like a fool's mate or something just because your intention tonight is to play like 10 fool's mates, and that's all you want to do. Like, come on, man. Just play a real game. Play the game that's in front of you. Anyways, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. I know I've covered a lot of different things, and as always, it's a pleasure to share test stuff with you guys. Also, I wanted to mention before I leave, thanks a lot to some of the people that have donated, sort of did the super thanks. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really helps out. Thanks for doing that, and yeah, hopefully everybody stays safe. Stay healthy, play some more chess, and I'll see you guys in the next video, okay? Bye-bye.